What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Luke Kang Kicking It. I am Luke Kang, and today we are kicking it with actor, writer, and acting coach, Alex Alpharaoh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you, brother.
Likewise, man. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Of course. Right off the bat, the way Alex and I kind of connected is we were in a movie together.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to the Little Family Drama. It's coming in. It's dropping. Are you going to the showing over at the Chinese theater?
Oh no, I got such a little part that I didn't even get that email, bro.
Oh, man. Well, you should go. Everybody should go. It's at the Chinese theater, September 6th, 7:30. I'm gonna miss it because I'm actually gonna be doing a gig in Denver. So
okay.
I'm not gonna get a chance to see it. But all my folks out there, go see it. September 6th, 7:30. It's the G Block because we G's.
All right, hell
Chinese
yeah.
theater. It's part of the festival that's going on right there.
Beautiful.
I'll drop the link on you so you can put it on.
Send it. I'll definitely.
Yeah.
You're going to Denver. What you got in Denver?
Yeah. So I booked a show called "I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter." It's based on a book by a woman who wrote a story about this young girl who is trying to cope with the loss of her sister, adolescence, being from two different worlds, right? Her parents are immigrants. She's a first-generation American. Shout out to Erika Sanchez, who wrote the book, and it was adapted by Isaac Gomez. So I'm going to be performing in Denver.
Nice.
Beginning at the end of September.
Beautiful.
We go into this quick rehearsal.
You said a show. You talking about like a theater show?
It's a stage production. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's dope.
Yeah.
How often do you do theater? Is this like your first time?
Oh man, I've been doing theater forever, man. I jumped into the game. I got into acting, doing theater when I was in college many moons ago. So I'm a member of Actors Equity, which is the professional actors union, which is the equivalent of SAG-AFTRA for the stage. I'm also a member of SAG-AFTRA.
Dope.
So
was that when you said you did theater in college? Was that a conscious decision, or did you need credits? You're like, hey, I'm gonna pick the fun.
The fun thing, man, I wasn't allowed to do fun stuff in college. I was on a private scholarship. They're like, you got to do this. I'm like, okay. Gotcha. I thought I was gonna be an accountant.
No way.
And then I was like, fuck. Can I say fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, fuck this.
You get 3, bro.
I get 3. Okay, I got one more. I'm gonna save it. No,
the second one doesn't count because you were just repeating yourself.
Yeah. So, No, I was supposed to be an accountant. It didn't work out for me during what should have been my last semester in college before I transferred to a 4-year school. I had to take an elective. I had to take a fun class because I'd done all my gen eds and all of the things in my discipline, and there was only one class that fit my schedule at the time, which was an intro to theater. I auditioned for my first show. I got bit by the acting bug, and that's been my journey ever since. So
it's funny how that happens, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, 18 years. I've been doing it for a long time.
Oh wow,
so,
that is a long time. It's funny for me. I realized. Like, I always kind of knew I wanted to be an entertainer.
Yeah.
My family, they used to always be like, you're going to be the next George Lopez. Just because we didn't have any other example of a comedian,
Yeah.
And
what's your family's background?
So my dad's Mexican and my mom's Salvadorian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I just laid over in El Salvador yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It's a lot nicer nowadays, bro.
Yeah. My missus, shout out to the missus,
nice.
Monchola. She we were together, we were trying to, get the family going, and it was interesting, man. It's an interesting vibe because over there you got to pay with American dollars.
Yeah.
Because they don't have what was it? It used to be called the colon, I think. They don't have a currency anymore. They got American dollars and then Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The president said we're putting everything into Bitcoin.
Oh man, I got some friends that love El Salvador all of a sudden, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as a kid, I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment, but so there's this club in high school called Mock Trial. And it was like, like you pretend to be a lawyer and you do like a court case and everything.
Yeah.
And so I thought I wanted to be a lawyer for a long time. And then I realized what went into being a lawyer. I ended up working at a law office,
Oh shit.
and I realized I just wanted to play one on TV.
Yeah, it's easier to play one on TV
Yeah.
than to actually go through the whole process.
I just
of
like
getting
making that
brought up.
closing argument, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to be Better Call Saul. That's what it was.
Oh,
bro.
you want to be Saul Goodman?
Yep.
Oh,
Exactly.
oh, Jimmy McGill.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's interesting because we laid over in El Salvador, so we were only there for 2 hours. Because we were vacationing with our family in Guatemala, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
And the missus, my wife, she's from she's from East Los, but she's Mexican American, so like pure 100% homegrown Chicana. And so, being in El Salvador, just coming from Guatemala, it's a whole different vibe, even though they're like neighbors, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's so interesting that like Latin America is broken down into so many different cultural identities within this diaspora of Latinidad. It's super interesting.
And then you come here and you're just Mexican.
Yeah, you hear you're Mexican, but whenever I go to New York, I'm papi.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm Dominican or Cuban or Puerto Rican and shout out to all the homies that are Dominican, Puerto Rican, and Cuban, because they're dope as fuck, But yeah, it just depends. It's like you speak Spanish, then you're whatever the majority is.
Whatever state you're in, that's where you are.
That's
bro.
where you
Yeah.
are, exactly. Yeah.
That's funny, man. Well, you said your wife's from East Los. Did you grow up in East LA too, or
Bro,
where
I
you
grew
from?
up everywhere, man. I grew up really broke. I grew up very impoverished. First generation. My parents had to work, 2 jobs, 3 jobs at a time. Sometimes they're new immigrants. They split when I was a kid. So I grew up all over the place, but like the 2 places that I identify with the most are South Central LA, which is where I spend my formative years, my like teen years in South Central, and Echo Park, which is before it got gentrified. It was Eco Parque.
Right.
I spent a little bit of time in East LA. My mom lived there for a stint for about maybe 4 years. I went to high school at Garfield High School for about a year, and then I was like, this isn't working out. Then she moved to the south side of town, and that's kind of where we stayed grounded for.
That's where your roots are.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, so I'm all over the place, bro. I know LA like the back of my hand. You know what I mean? I don't need the navigation. I just have it because it's easy to look at. But
yeah, it's more of a confidence thing.
Yeah,
you're just like, am I making a left?
Yeah, no,
and knew the whole time.
And when you grow up in the city, like I do, like I learned the city through the bus routes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I grew up taking RTD, MTA. So
that tripped me out when I went to San Diego for the first time. They still had RTD.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It hasn't been RTD for a long time.
Yeah.
But people that know, if you were old head like I am now, which is a trip, because I woke up one morning and I was like, oh shit, I'm the OG now. I'm like the old head. There's like youngsters that look at me like, you old. I'm like, your mama old.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they we remember RTD, but yeah, it was interesting growing up on the metro, learning the rail system. Like I remember when they first put a metro rail, they came all the way out here. You know what I mean? And like South Pass, that wasn't a thing for a long time. You had to learn how to take the 81 that takes you all the way from South Central. It bleeds through downtown all the way through Highland Park until it makes its way over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the 2 hour ride.
2 hour rides, bro. And what do you do when you got that? Like music, writing, tagging. Shout out to all my taggers out there, my graffiti folks that were doing their thing back in the day. Yeah.
That's cool, man. So I see like there's you kind of have that influence in a lot of like your projects, like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was excited when you booked this interview, bro, because you freaking floored me, bro, when you played I think it's Psycho. Oh, in this fool.
Yeah, that was a fun gig. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I also saw 5th of July.
Yeah,
that was a good one too, and it gave me a lot of just like LA vibes, more like Southeast. if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, man. I was shout out to Chris Estrada, the creator of this fool, and 5th of July. I remember being on set with that fool, and he's super cool, man. I got love for him. He's like one of the most down to earth folks you ever get to meet. Sure. And we were on set, and he's like, so big dog, because he calls everybody big dog.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, so big dog. So like, did you grow up around here? I was like, yeah, fool. Like we were off of Arlington and 26 or something, like just like on the border of like South Central, what they call what do they call it? They call it fucking Adams District or something. Like something stupid. It's like it's South Central. I've been trying to change the name for it forever. Right? Call it South LA, whatever. It's South Central.
Anywhere within 5 miles of Alameda.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
South
It's South Central, bro.
Yeah.
It's South Central. So I was out. He asked me, "He's like, did you grow up here?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I was down on 42nd and Van Ness. Like just past King, and right before, like between King and Vernon." Like maybe about a mile away from the Shaw. And I'm like, where'd you grow up? And he told me, he was like, oh, I lived off of Hoover. I was like, oh, okay, so you're on the southeast side.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah. And we started talking about being Latinos that grew up in South Central or like predominantly African American neighborhoods and the influence that it had on us. Because if you see this fool, what's great about that show is that it portrays a different version of Latinidad in a different community, right? It's not like Gentified or even Vida.
That's actually why I actually really like that show, is because it was the first time I seen a show on TV that's like geared towards Latinos that I actually felt like, quote unquote, the representation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and getting back to this conversation with Chris, I mean, one of the things that I really appreciated about him and the work that he did and is doing is that, they were really focused on the representation part. They were really focused on like, let's hire Latino actors, Latine, Latinx, whatever you want to call it, that are from these communities that we're talking about. So like a lot of my friends are on that show, my comadre, America Esperanza is on there, Brenda Banda is on there, fucking Chris Calderon, Alexander Gibson, the whole URA from the streets to the set. Shout out to everyone from the streets to the set, Bernice Molina Valle, there's so many folks that are my friends that are my colleagues that made it onto that show because
I'm mad that I missed the casting, fool.
God damn it, man. Yeah, that's why they got to bring it back. They got to bring it back. Look, man, it got cheated because we went through this massive strike. You know what I mean? We went through a writer and an actor strike, and so we couldn't do any PR
I would have done it for free, bro.
Dude, I mean, look, let's start a petition, man, because it's really a good show. So a lot of Latinos that are from LA, that are homegrown, that understand the culture, that understand the language, that understand the dynamics. The reason why it comes off so authentic is because it is. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that Gentified wasn't, because they did hire folks that are from LA, and I know the writers are from LA. You know what I mean? And some of the leads are from LA. But this one just had a different vibe.
It was very specific,
very homey type of vibe. You know what I mean? And they really made an effort to bring out a lot of the homies for this one. And it was cool. And like similar to, 5th of July, when we were doing that, like, Chris was like downright politicking on the streets because he's like, look, we got to shoot this scene. We ain't got no permits. We just got to make this shit happen.
Right.
Like, and I'm going to go talk to this fool right now because he's looking at me like, why are you standing on my corner, homie? I ain't never seen you before. And he's making things happen on the spot, which is the resilience and it speaks to who we are as people.
I will say this. Yeah, you hit it right. I was about to make this point. Who we are as people, because I've always grown up like, man, I went to a good high school. I was in the arts, in the film club and all that stuff. But I grew up around, like my uncles in the valley, like they were fucking crazy, bro. You know what I mean? It's the only word to use is crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And but they would always like big me up because I would feel like, oh, I'm a bitch, you know, like I'm not into any of this shit, you know. But they would always big me up and be like, oh no, you're doing something.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. Keep doing that, bro. And like even someone that I don't even know, I'm not related to or whatever, but if they see someone like us trying to make something happen, it's like, hey, put all that bullshit to the side, bro. Like, do your thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
that always, I always thought that was like the coolest thing about like being Latino or being like I guess street adjacent. You know,
Street adjacent. I love that. I've never heard that one. Street adjacent. I'm gonna use that. I'm like, you street adjacent.
Yeah. It's like I don't do nothing crazy, but you could tell by how I talk.
Yeah.
That you know I know what's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel that. Yeah. So it was definitely a vibe. And being on set with Chris, and we were just talking about like where we grew up and like the high schools, because like when you're from LA, a lot of times when I run into and it doesn't happen that often anymore, unfortunately, but when I run into like a Rio Angelino, someone that is from here, that grew up here, went to school here and everything, like the first check is like, where'd you go to school? You know what I mean? And so we were talking about like, oh, what school did you go to? Oh, I went to this school, I went to that school. And then Chris hit me up. And he was like, yo, bro, like, were you ever did you ever bang? Or like, oh, nah, bro. Like, I kicked it with homies, you know what I mean? Like, I respect the culture. I kicked it with homies. I had a lot of homies.
But my mom would call me home early before shit got crazy.
Yeah. Palo, you know? But I was a writer. I was a graffiti artist, you know? I was a tagger. And he was like, oh, yeah, where from? And I told him my crew. And then he freaked out. He's like, I don't think you want to be on my show anymore. And it turns out that he used to kick it with our rivals.
Hilarious.
And he's like, what? He's like, oh, man, nah, bro. Like, I don't think you want to be on my show because I used to kick it with these fools. And I'm like, Chris, I'm on your show. You think I give a fuck about what happened?
I bang SAG-AFTRA now, fool.
Yeah, we both SAG-AFTRA, bro. We roll different now. Yeah. You know, so it was, super dope experience, down to earth. You know what I mean? He's a good dude. I'm super happy for all the success that he's had, and him and Frankie. I mean, and Frankie was doing his thing, way before with
reminds me of my
Cholo
cousin,
Creep,
bro.
Yeah. So I'm very happy that we're putting our narratives out there, that we're doing our thing in such a way that the representation is what's coming to the forefront, because we've been saying this shit for years. We've been saying it in politics. We've been saying it in every single place that we go to, that representation matters, right?
Right.
And so to have the kind of representation that these folks are putting out is important for us. And it's like, we got to support it. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of shows that got canned, like this fool, like Gentefied, like Gordita Chronicles. It was an amazing show as well. You know what I mean? That like these shows that really represent who we are as a diverse cultural diaspora. Again, like, there's so many different cultural nuances within Latinidad, because if you're from Colombia, you have a different vibe, you have a different accent, as if you're from Nicaragua, you know what I mean? As if you're from Guatemala. Like,
it's like rednecks and Wall Street fools. They're both white, but
totally different. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like rednecks from Georgia versus rednecks from Dakota. I guess, I don't know. That's the best way that I could imagine it. But like, having different kinds of Latinos, and then putting them under this, like cultural umbrella that is Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Is what makes it so specific and so beautiful, to see, again, a bunch of people that are from here that got an opportunity to showcase how dope they are. You know what I mean? It was just great. I got a chance to work with, my comadre, like one of my best friends, Brenda Banda, on both 5th of July and this fool, You
guys knew each other from outside of
She's one
acting?
of my best friends, man.
Way.
I've known this woman, like, she brought me in. She was the co-founder of a theater company called Urban Theater Movement that started back in like 2008. and she was fresh out of Cerritos College, and her and this dude named Paul Tully and Israel Lopez Reyes, who is over at the Latino Theater Company in downtown LA. They started this like little theater company that like just expanded, and I came in right in the beginning of this company. She took me under her wing, and she gave me a shot. You know what I mean? And we've been friends for the last 15, 16 years now.
That's awesome.
So it was great to be able to work with her,
Yeah.
and to
Because a lot of being on set is just hurry up and wait,
Yeah,
be ready
man.
and just kick it. So if you're kicking it with fools you actually know, like,
Yeah.
that makes it so much better.
But what was crazy was that, she had this was during COVID too. We're shooting this shit during COVID. So there was all these rules, like you have to keep social distancing. You gotta test, you gotta wear masks, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. She had an exemption. And because she had an exemption, they treated her like a leper, bro. So she had to like kick it way over there. And she couldn't talk to people. It was,
hey, this shit's crazy, huh?
yeah, it's like, it was. I took a picture with her, and they got mad because they're like, "Oh, you can't be. You're 5 feet, 5 feet."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay." Like I just saw this woman. We had lunch yesterday at my house.
Right.
I'm fucking worried about 5 feet. So yeah, man, it was a great experience. And
That's
I
cool.
hope it continues to grow and evolve. Kind of like what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? This came from we're both doing, or we both participated in a little family drama. Shout out to Ramon, shout out to Mike, shout out to everybody involved in the production. It was great. It was great to
Yeah, it was a fun set.
to be on set and to and that's the thing, right? Is that a lot of folks think that acting is just the glamour, right? It's like the red carpet and the interviews and all of that stuff. Like that's not even the work.
That's
you know what I
the
mean?
3-month run after you already did everything,
The real work is in the audition. The real work is in
Right.
showing up and knowing your damn lines. You know what I mean?
Right.
And-
I'm writing a sketch show, and everyone that I'm trying to include in it I'm like, bro, just don't worry, I'll hit you up in 6 months, cause I got 6 months worth of work to do, right, plan,
yeah.
all this stuff. And I'm like in my head, because I always try to be realistic about things,
Yeah.
I feel like so many times when you're out in this city in Hollywood and trying to do acting and everything, people are so like, their expectations are so unrealistic. It's like, we're gonna shoot it tomorrow and we're gonna be fucking famous on Tuesday, And I'm just like, bro, you know what, man, like, I'll hit you up in a year when it's ready.
Yeah,
You know?
man. I remember when I first came back home, because I went to school in Orange County, and I left LA for a while. I left LA actually for about 10 years because I thought I was raising a family out there. This is before I became an actor. When I came back home, I have roots here, so I can land anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, people that want to come to LA, it's like, oh, it's really hard to move to LA. It's really expensive, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, it is. And also, I don't know that experience because I'm from LA. So,
Right.
my mom lives here. My brothers live here. My tias live here. Like, everybody lives here, So it was
They'll
a
talk
different-
shit, but they'll let
They'll
you
talk
crash.
shit,
They'll let you crash on
yeah.
the couch if you have to.
They'd be like, look, motherfucker, you this old and you still got to use my couch.
Yeah.
Yes, I love you, mom.
Right.
So coming back, I remember there was a bunch of friends. It was like a whole group of folks that moved out to LA around the same time that I came back home to pursue a career in acting, and most of them lasted maybe 2-3 years max. Some of them made it. Some of them have made it. Some of them have careers, which I'm super happy for, and I'm grateful that they're on TV. They're doing films. They're doing stage work. But for the most part, a lot of them folded. Because this is, it's a really difficult industry to get into. I mean, I think one of the hardest lessons that we have to learn is that the job is not to act. The job is to audition. You know what I mean? You got to learn to be a good auditioner, and then you get the chance to act. Like, acting is a fringe benefit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Booking the job is the job.
Right.
So, and that takes time, man. And like you're saying, you're joking about it, but it's true, man. I mean, like, one of the things that I teach folks when they come and study with me is that authenticity is key to this business. You got to be real, and when you're working with folks that understand what real is, it's just about getting them to be real in scenarios and situations
Right.
that are not common to them. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's like, how can you be a real person that's living these real circumstances while still having fun, while still doing whatever it is that you have to do?
That's something
know.
that my girl gets mad at is because I can do that. So we'll be arguing, and she's like, she'll try to make me feel what she's feeling. So she'll be like, "Well, imagine if the tables were turned. Wouldn't you feel this way?" And I like really sit and I think about. I'm like, nah, I don't think I would, bro.
That's the wrong thing to say, Lou. You can't say that shit, Liu Kang.
No, I learned. I'd be like, I can see where you're coming from.
I can't pull that shit on my girl. She look at me like, serious. It's a whole list, bro. I learned, man. I learned. My queen is, she's hard on me, but she's fair.
All right, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
You know, so yeah. I mean, that's all I got to say about that.
Don't worry, we won't clip this part. Well, yeah, we won't clip it.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I will say this last thing about like the show This Fool, is the reason I like it so much is because it's kind of like I've heard this from black people about slave movies. It's like, dog, I'm over it. Like, there's only so much trauma, and everyone black on TV or in a movie is like, the world is on top of them. Like, you can only take that for so long, bro, before it gets boring. Like, my favorite is a lot of times back in the day when you saw Mexicans on TV or in a movie, they're threatening or dangerous or scary, or just can't catch a break. The show This Fool, like, if you meet like real street fools, they're low-key all hilarious.
Oh, it's super funny, bro.
There's only like a few. If you had to do percentage, it's like 10% scary, and like for the most of the part, like they're just fucking around, joking around and shit.
Bro, I mean, that's the thing, is that we grow up in these really dire circumstances. We grow up in these really messed up environments, and we don't have much. You know what I mean? And we gotta find a way to cope and a way to get through. And laughter, man. Laughter is the best medicine. So we learn to heal ourselves through the laughter, because as messed up as the situation can be, if we can make light of it, it'll help us get through it. So you're right. A lot of those OGs, a lot of the big homies, man, they're hella funny, and they're funny. Like, they don't try to be funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't try. Like they're just funny because, like,
it's a muscle.
It's a muscle, bro. It's like being funny and making light of really tough situations is the way that we cope. So yeah, I agree with that, man. 100%.
Also, just like your biggest insecurity. I saw a post on Instagram that cracked me up yesterday. It was like, your tios, when they find out your biggest insecurity, and they just make it your nickname.
Bro, you don't even know, bro. We got nicknames for everybody. I don't think I've called any of my cousins or even my brothers, my sister by their real name in years.
Right.
Like, I got nicknames for everybody. We got nicknames for everybody, yo. And it's usually that. It's like whatever you're insecure of. It's like, oh, there goes Stanky Breath. What's up, Stanky Breath?
My boy Stanks.
My boy Stank over there. What's good with you, fool?
Yep.
Yeah, that's just how we do it. My father, man, rest his soul. My father was a clown, bro. And that's, when I was a little kid, bro, they used to clown us every day. My fucking dad, bro, used to clown me. And I remember one time he made me cry. I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old. And rather than like hug me and reassure me and tell me that everything was all right, He was like, look, you got to stop being a bitch.
Right,
Okay?
right.
You got to learn to be tough, okay? Because these kids, they're going to make fun of you, okay? You already got a funky ass name. You know, these kids are not going to let up. You better learn how to make fun of them, okay? And you better learn how to make fun of yourself, because if not, you're going to end up crying a whole lot, because this world is going to make fun of you forever if you don't learn how to stand up for yourself. And it's true, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
You know, it's a little bullying.
You see it. You see it now, like the effects of not growing up Mexican. You see it on social media all the time. Fools are snitching on each other.
Terrible.
And this woman cut me off in traffic, and they got the phone in her face and shit. It's just like, dog, there's so much worse that could be happening right now, and you're over here like crying.
Yeah.
About like the smallest shit, you know.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have a similar kind of story. It was I was the youngest cousin, so I got it the fucking worst, you know. And
The little ones always get it worse because you get clowned by everybody.
Yeah, up the chain.
Yep,
yeah,
up the chain. It's like because the one that came before you is just practicing on you. Then the next one is practicing on that person, and then the next one's practicing on those three people. So it's like. Yep. Every day. And
then it's a lot of it is like if a bear's coming after you, like you only have to be faster than the person behind you, so they like push you down. They're like, "Fuck him," right?
Yeah. That and hand-me-downs.
Oh, hand-me-downs. Yeah.
Hand-me-downs. I don't know. I was the oldest, so I didn't have to wear hand-me-downs.
Yeah, that's what's up.
All my cousins, all my brothers, they all had to wear my hand-me-downs. So
man, these shoes right now I got from a more successul comedian.
There you go. Here you go, bro. It seems like you really need these.
This is like part of my payment for a podcast, dude.
He's like, look, I can't pay you with money, but you like these shoes?
Yeah. Yeah. I texted him like a month later, bro. I was like, hey, dog, I just want to let you know I finally walked a mile in your shoes, dog.
That's funny. At least you didn't call and be like, hey, dog, I just want to let you know these fucking shoes ripped.
Yeah, right.
Like, no, fuck you and your good. Shoes.
They're comfy, bro. They're already broken in, you know. I don't gotta.
you don't gotta.
That
you don't
uncomfortable
gotta go through that
portion.
uncomfortable phase. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Luckily, all my hand-me-downs were. Nah, you know what? My older brother, he was like a super fashion guy, but like he would hand me down things, and they were like too far ahead for like the kids in my grade. So they would just call me gay all the time and shit. Like I had a leather backpack. They'd be like, "Where's your purse, fool? How come you didn't bring your purse to school?" I was like, "Fuck."
Damn, that's terrible, bro.
And then like years later, bro, the leather fucking bag was the cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I had an older cousin, but she was like she was a square, bro. So I didn't really hang out with her in school. You know what I mean? We hung out at home, but we didn't hang out at school, you know, and so I had to figure things out. But you know, going back to the homie culture and like street culture, I think that's why I gravitated to that, because like again, parents working, I didn't have any older sibling. I'm the oldest, you know. So I didn't have anyone to look up to. So I looked up to my friends. I looked up to my older friends. Right. I'm talking about fools that were like 2 years older, 3 years older than me. You know what I mean? But like when you're in the 7th grade and they're in the 10th grade, that's difference. A huge world of difference. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you might as well be talking to the president. You know what I mean? You might as well be talking to God.
This fool knows everything.
He knows everything about everything. Oh, you think I'm cool? Hell yes, whatever you want me to do. Yes, I will go do that stick up bit. Okay. Yeah,
I feel that. So you said you used to write, used to be a tagger.
Yeah.
My brother and I, we were taggers for like 2 days, and then we couldn't come up with a name, a cool name. So we're like, fuck this, dog. I don't know what to do. But for a while he would start tag beef. Like he wasn't a tagger, but he knew our friends, what they would write. So we'd see them around town. He's like, let me cross them out real quick.
Damn.
And he put like a fake ass name. And then so like it would be like weeks, bro. He would be messing with people's heads, dog, you know? And it was like the dumbest name. And then like
your brother caused a lot of beef out there.
Yeah, facts. No, one time we were walking and then with one of our friends, and he goes like, hey, bro, do you know who? I'm not gonna say the name, but do you know who blank is? And we're both looking like we're both trying not to bust up laughing, you know. And he's like, nah, I don't know. I heard he was crazy though. Like I heard that fool was fucking.
I heard he was wild, bro.
Yeah. He's like, well, if I find him, I'm gonna fuck him up. And he's
Yeah.
like, damn, fool. All right. Well, I don't know if you want to go against him, dog. They say he got like, his record is undefeated.
That's
Like,
terrible.
yeah, we used to antagonize fools, man. That's a big part of, I think, like what we were just talking about, like going through the ringer. Like it's in the corporate setting, they call it hazing or paying your dues.
Mm-hmm.
Just kicking it with fools, like you're just constantly being hazed or
Bro.
paying your dues and shit.
Look, let me tell you, bro. Like we grew up clowning every single day. I mean, I'm on a thread with my friends from like high school. You know what I mean?
Oh, those are the best.
Like my boys that I grew up with. And we talk so much shit, bro. We talk so much shit. Whenever we get together, that's all we do. We talk shit and we laugh and we clown. I mean, but again, right? It's like you tell jokes, you clown, you do things to pass the time, because they're like growing up on the block, growing up in the hood. There's not a lot to do unless you want to go do grimy shit because you have to. A lot of time. Look, I don't know nobody that ever did grimy shit because they necessarily wanted to. They did grimy shit because they had to, right? It's a survival mechanism, right? And that's not to absolve anybody from anything that they've done wrong. I'm just saying that, like, we grow up in these environments where, like, in order for you to just get by, sometimes you got to do things that, that people would frown upon.
We also did a lot of dumb shit, too.
Yeah, I mean, but who didn't do dumb shit,
Yeah.
Like, unless you're a square, and that's cool, too, you know what I mean? Like, but...
Yeah, I'd never hate on somebody who, like, is just a studious person and
good for them, you know what I mean? It's like, you had a good upbringing. Good for you. Congratulations, man. Shit, I wish I would have had that. You know what I mean? Right. But... yeah, it was all part of the growing up process, out here in LA. I'm sure there's similar variations of this, like if you're from the Midwest or if you're from the East Coast. But I mean, like out here in LA, homie culture, Chicanismo, Latinidad, and the way that we grew up in is very specific. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we grew up with that G-funk gangster era of music, you know what I mean? Like the 2000s, 2010s, even mid to late 90s, you know what I mean? We're listening to, like, the music was raw. And the music was very influential to the way that people moved. I mean, I don't know. I think the generational gap is too big for me now. Like, I love artists today. There's a lot of dope artists that I listen to, you know what I mean? Like, of course, like, you got your K-Dots, you got, Joey Badass, you got 21 Savage, Lil Baby and them, Wayne. And those are artists that I still listen to, that I vibe with, that I connect with. But there's a lot of artists that I don't know. There's a lot of artists that are that are Billboard top 5. I mean, I think there was a report that came out that, like, in the first time in hip hop history, and hip hop's 50 years old now, that the charts are dominated by female MCs.
Oh yeah.
And that, I mean, and like the top recording artists are female rappers now, which is great. I'm happy for that. I think that's great. And
some of them are pretty good.
They're
man.
dope. Yeah, they're dope. I mean, you got a lot of dope artists.
Some of them I just can't, like, I like them, but I just can't get caught bumping that in the car,
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like, for me, it's always been about the music. I'm a lyricist myself. You know what I mean? I'm a poet. So, like, I love the lyrics. Like, if you you have dope wordplay and you know how to use it and you know how to deliver it, like, I don't care what's between your legs or what's not between your legs. You know what I mean? Like, if you're dope, you're dope.
But let's just put the scenario, like, you're at a red light, and the Lil Kim part of Get Money comes on. You're gonna lower it down just a little bit, just in case, bro. Stop singing along and just be like, just nod your head. I see where she's coming from, though.
That's funny. Yeah, I feel that.
That's awesome. Well, so you are also a writer. with being an actor, um, is there like when you write a part? I was asking a friend about this recently. I feel like the the rubric or the way not only it should be done, but the way I feel like most people want it to be done is the Adam Sandler way, where you kind of just you work with your homies, you know, and you have your team and you bring them up and all that stuff. When you're writing something, do you write it with people in mind to play these characters?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's times that I write characters and I just write to write them. You know what I mean? And I'm not necessarily thinking of anyone in mind in particular, especially if it's a commission, you know, if I'm writing for somebody that's paying me to write something for them.
Right.
I don't necessarily think, oh, this person would be great. When it's my own projects, most of the time, yes, I have specific people in mind that I want to write for. I want to, I want to write for my friends. Because nobody works harder for you than your friends. No one's going to show up and be and give it more than anyone else but your friends. You know what I mean? So it's always dope. And yeah, it's kind of like you're saying the Adam Sandler way. It's like you want to work with the people that you know. You want to work with the people that you vibe with. It's like, for example, you know, you build your network of folks. And yeah, every now and then you bring outside people because they're good or because you need a specific type or specific look. And also, if you can pull it from within the network of people that you already work with, one, we want to be able to create jobs for ourselves and create opportunities for ourselves, right? And also, like, you know, that's why I got into this. I wanted to play. I wanted to play with my friends. You know, I wanted to play with the people that I enjoy spending time with. Like, why would I want to spend 6 months out of my life on a project with people that I hate?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or people that I don't vibe with. You know what I'm saying?
Even in the office, like I feel like job interviews, half of it is like, all right, are you weird? How weird are you?
Yeah.
Are we
you
compatible?
gonna fit here? Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, and if I'm gonna be, if I'm gonna have like creative differences, I'd rather have creative differences with my friends,
right?
You know what I mean, than have creative differences with someone that I don't know. So, yeah, man, I oftentimes I write with certain people in mind, and when I have somebody in mind, I tend to take the nuances. I tend to take the energy, the vibrancy of who these people are, and I fuse them with the character, so that when they come into the role, it's like putting on a, you know, like a worn pair of shoes that
already
that fits
ready.
them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
that was a good callback. My
Yeah.
man's got good callbacks.
yeah.
You are a writer.
I am. Yes, thank you.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I guess last question would be, well, no, I have another one. To piggyback off that last question is, do you write parts for yourself?
Absolutely.
Have you ever found yourself like making the character like a little extra cool?
Nah, man. I you know, like if you make your character too cool, then like Kid Frost said, you go and be a culo.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. That's
you
true.
gotta.
You don't want to be a culo. Kids.
Don't be a culo, kids. You know, just be you. And and to quote the late great Bernie Mac, if people don't like it when you're being yourself, fuck them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, I write characters for myself. Absolutely. Part of the reason why I became a writer was because as an actor, when I was first starting out in this business a long time ago, I couldn't get cast in anything, man.
Right.
You know, and the only things that I was getting cast in, I was getting cast as the undocumented immigrant, the fruit vendor, the lawnmower man, landscaper, or the cholo thug. That was it. Like that, there was nothing else outside of that. People didn't want to see me doing Shakespeare. People didn't want to see me doing, you know, complex characters with very, very complicated, you know.
The accountant.
Yeah, bro. Like not even account, bro. Just like, you know, how about a single father who's trying to raise a female daughter,
right? You
know, and he's got the odds stacked against him, and everyone thinks that, you know, he's crazy because what does he know about raising a little girl? What about that story? You know what I mean? Like,
I'd watch that.
Right. Yeah. So it was really difficult for me to see myself just having a career playing those stereotypical characters.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why, like, I got to give shout out to the folks that came before me. I got to give shout out to the folks whose shoulders I stand on. You know what I mean? Like, there's like all the people that laid the foundation, the Latino actors that came before us, the generation of like Edward James Olmos, Jimmy Smits, Jeff Rivas, Carlos Carrasco, like all these folks from like American Me, from Blood In, Blood Out, the Latino Theater Company, Josefina Lopez over at Casa 0101. They were writing these stories, Evelina Fernandez, they were writing these stories that were giving Latinos a humanity,
Peeling back that onion.
yeah, man. And it wasn't just like, oh, this is a maid, oh, this is a landscaper, oh, this is a thug. No, like these are people that are complicated. These are people that have full lives, that are dealing with the same existential shit that white folks are dealing with.
Right.
Regardless of socioeconomics, everybody understands love, everybody understands loss, everybody understands want, need, we just happen to be brown. We just happen to be Latino, right? So
even like you mentioned, like Blood In, Blood Out, that gives me, I don't watch that movie for, I mean, I kind of do, right? For like the cholo aspect, but you kind of watch it because it's just like, it's a little more real than just, hey, we're on the block and we're banging. It's like, no, it's a story about a kid who's trying to fit in, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
it's like Boys in the Hood with Cuba Gooding.
Right.
He's trying to fit in. Hey, man, look, all my friends are like fucking on the block, but I'm trying to do something different.
Yeah, it's the formula of, from a writer's perspective, right? The formula of the fish out of water story.
There you go.
Yeah, he's a fish out of water, strenuous circumstances, and then he goes through his hero's journey, right? It's like, oh, what happens to this character? How does this character start? What are the circumstances that transform the character? And then how does the character change at the end of the story, right? If we're talking about Blood In, Blood Out, you look at Miklo, he starts out as the square cousin, between Crucito and El Gallo Negro. And then he goes, he kills somebody, he goes to jail, he becomes one of the heads of La Onda, corrupts himself, you know what I mean? And because he's surviving and he's doing what he feels he has to do in order to survive, because he really took that, like, I'm down, vatos locos, shit to the heart. He was the one who had the most heart.
Yeah.
From all of them, from Paco, from Crucito, from all of the homies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why
even they at a certain point are like, all right, fool, chill out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we were just joking, fool.
Yeah.
You took this a little too serious.
Yeah, so you see that hero's journey, right? So a lot of the stories that are being told today, are fish out of water, because we as Latinos, if you really think about it, we are the fish out of water, because even though California used to be Mexico, you know what I mean? Like, there's like myself, for instance, first generation, you know what I mean? I'm a fish out of water in a country where, for a long time I wasn't accepted. For a long time I wasn't considered to be one of the own. I had to learn to assimilate. I had to learn the language. I'll never forget, part of the reason why I think I became a writer, why I became a poet, why I became a lyricist, an MC, all of the things that have to do with words and with language, was because when I was in kindergarten, I think I was in kindergarten, man, I didn't speak any English. Because my parents didn't speak English, so I spoke Spanish. They spoke Spanish to me at home. They spoke Spanish to me in pre-K and daycare, and I got to kindergarten, and in my first week, bro, I got bullied. I got beat up. I got kids calling me stupid. I remember somebody took my chocolate milk and gave me their white milk, and they were laughing at me, and they were calling me dumb, and they were telling me to call myself stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, like, dude, I'm like 4.
Yeah.
And I still remember this. I still remember these kids making fun of me, these kids taking my milk and not understanding what they were saying. And something in me was just like, I got to learn this language. I got to learn how to communicate, and I got to do it better than anybody else. And I remember they called my mom, like maybe 3 months, like almost at the end of the semester, they called my mom in for a parent conference, and my mom was really upset. She's like, "What did you do? Like, you getting me in trouble? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
am I supposed to come? You know, like when you're a kid and your parents are like get called in to school, it's like fuck."
Yeah, right.
And they basically just called her in to let her know that that they were very astonished because I basically learned and surpassed everybody in my class in terms of language comprehension, and then they jumped me a grade.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I didn't even get to go to the first grade. I jumped straight into second grade because it was just like, okay, so I read everything. I understand everything now. I know how to read and write now. I learned how to read and write English in like 3 months. It's like, what's next? You know, but I think that
rocket science.
Yeah, right. That trauma, though, it's that trauma that makes us that makes us resilient, and that, you know, necessity is the mother of innovation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my need to fit in, my need to not be bullied, you know, it played a role.
Yeah. I feel that. I honestly, obviously, like, different, but I feel something similar to that, where for me, doing comedy, doing podcasts, having good conversations with people, if I had to say, like, the phrase that I heard the most growing up is, "Shut up, Lou."
That's fucked up.
Even like my homies, bro.
Yeah.
"Shut up, Lou."
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck you talking about? And so, like, I feel like that gave me a little bit of a complex where it's just like, well, no, I do have shit to say.
Yeah, and then you're going to say it. You're going to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like a big part of the origin of the comedy. You know, it's like, well, now look, motherfuckers, people want to come see what I have to say, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep.
Definitely.
I feel that.
All right, last question is, do you have any future projects or dream projects that you would like to see happen at some point in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I was telling my girl this morning, because it's a big deal. We have a family, we got kids, and I'm taking off to Denver next week, and I'm going to be gone for a few months. And the last time that I did that was when I was on national tour with my solo show, but it was different circumstances. You know what I mean? I didn't, I had a kid, but she was a teenager, and I was a single dad at the time. Now it's different. We have a 1-year-old, we have an 11-year-old, and then 22-year-old. So it's really the 1-year-old that's difficult. But I said, I'm living my dream. Like I'm living the dream. It's like, wow, like, oh shit, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, I worked my ass off so hard, and here I am. And it's not quite what I thought it was going to be yet. But it's a whole lot better than what it's ever been. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a big deal. I get paid to perform. I get paid to act. I get paid to do what I love. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about gas money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can put food on the table. I can pay the rent. I can pay bills.
What is it? Copy, credit, meal, gas,
gas stipend. No more meal, copy, credit. You know what I mean? Like that. Those days are done, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's why I pay into my union dues, right?
Yeah.
So I'm living the dream. I'm grateful for that. Like I'm practicing gratitude, man. Leading by example, in the sense that I have friends, colleagues, students that are starting their journey in this business, and what I tell them is, be faithful to what you love, be faithful to yourself and your craft, that it will pay off. It's dividends, right? If you're in it to be rich and famous, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Fame, fortune, recognition, these are all, statues, awards. That's all byproducts of doing good work. Focus on doing good work.
On the
Focus
work,
on the work. I was reading an interview with Ethan Hawke the other day, and he was talking about, when he didn't win the Academy Award for Training Day, and Denzel did.
Yeah, right.
And Denzel
He's like,
told
but
him,
I'm white. What the fuck?
but Denzel told him, it's like, you know what? It's a good thing that you didn't win, because you don't want the statue to elevate your status. You want to elevate the
Ah.
statue status.
Yeah, that
You
makes
know
sense.
what I mean?
I feel that.
And so that's
It's also really easy for the guy that won the statue to be
say
like,
that.
hey.
You know? Yeah, it's like, well, can I have yours then?
Yeah, exactly.
No, fuck you then.
Well, you shouldn't have won either.
Yeah, you shouldn't have won either then. But I say that to folks, you know, it's like focus on doing good work, focus on becoming the best artist that you can be, and then all of that stuff will come. All that recognition will come. Like even having the blessing and opportunity to be on your podcast, you know, like this is a culmination of the work of doing work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm sure you don't just go, oh, let me go pick that person and you want to come on my podcast. No, I'm sure that there's folks that want to be on here. There's folks that you vet, that you look out for and go, this person might be a good fit, right? So.
And I got my little paper. I wrote my notes. You know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So so it's like, for me, that's the dream. Yeah. For me, I'm living the dream. I get to do what I love. I get to wake up. I get to celebrate my existence by doing what I love, by having, good health, good friends, good family, and a purpose that fulfills me, right? Projects that I'm working on right now, like I said, I'm about to take off. That's why we're doing the podcast today, because I'm taking off to Denver next week. I'm going to be, performing at the Denver Center of Performing Arts, doing I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter, which is an adaptation of Erika Sanchez's book, New York Times bestseller. It's also being developed into a film by, I believe, America Ferrera.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's being written by, I think who's writing that one. I want to say Yvette Chavez, who's the showrunner for Gentefied. She's the one who's writing the film adaptation for it. So it's dope. Another project that I have coming up, I have an adaptation of Othello called Old Dog, that takes place in Koreatown during the 6 days of the LA riots.
Gotcha.
I have that in development. I'm adapting the adaptation of Romeo and Juliet that my girl Blanca Munchola and I produced last year with our students. It's called R&J, Rolling Through East LA, and it's cool. Romeo and Juliet set in the hood with homie culture. We're turning that into a film as well. So it's just, being an artist means that the creativity doesn't stop. You know what I mean? It's like and to the point where, we're working on things and we have to take breaks because we work a lot.
You don't want to burn yourself out.
Yeah. And I just came back. Like, this is the first thing that I'm doing after coming back from a much needed, vacation. We were on vacation for 2 weeks. So, I feel refreshed, re-energized, and just ready to hit the ground running. And that's and also, a little family drama, which is which is this amazing project that we both were on. I got a chance to play Sebastian, who is the brother to Ramon's character. I got to work with amazing people like Romy and Ramon and Xochitl and Alma Martinez, who played my mom. It was a fun project. Albert, who was hilarious as well in it. Please go check it out. It's screening limitedly at the Chinese Theater, September 7th, 6:30 p.m. No, September 6th
at 7.
At 7
there you go.
At the Chinese Theater, Block G, is it, or Block N? I don't know. We'll send you the link on the.
Yeah, we'll put the info in the description of the episode as well.
There. And I think that's all I can think of right now at the top of my head. Man. Yeah. That really answered what my next question would be the advice to give a young actor. That's awesome, man. Don't do it.
Yeah, right. Don't do it.
Fuck out. You don't want it. You're gonna cry. There's a lot of fucking lonely nights.
But no, that really speaks to me, man, because like literally just last night, I had to really, in this business, there's a lot of feelings that you have to kind of just deal with. You're dealing with rejection all the time. You're dealing with so much uphill battle. Yeah. And just yesterday, I was talking about specifically doing these podcasts where I'm like, man, like, I'm coming out of pocket. I'm, spending all this time, all this money. And it's just like, it feels like, I'm not getting that return. But then my girl, as solace, was like, you know what, you don't like this isn't your only identity. You don't have to you don't have to do this. And that option of like, oh, I don't have to do this, made me realize that I like doing it.
Yeah.
And that's when I started writing my notes.
You're like, let me get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing, right, Lou, is that, yeah, we don't have to do this. We don't have to be like, we could go and get regular jobs, you know, we can go and fucking, I have a background in social work. You know, I did social work for many, many years, man. And I got burnt out. I got burned out several times. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to fucking waste my life energy doing this shit just for what, a paycheck? Like, and it's hard, So like, if you ask me, if the question was like, what advice would you give to young artists? I mean, I'm joking, but I'm also serious. It's like, look, if there is something else that you can do, if there is anything else that you are mildly passionate about,
right,
go do that.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, go check that shit out. Because this is hard. It's rewarding. It's extremely rewarding, and it's beneficial in so many different layers and levels, and it's hard.
Yeah.
You have to have a real love and passion and drive. A friend of mine named Julian Acosta, who is a member of the Labyrinth Theater Company. Any people that are watching this that are from the theater world will know the Labyrinth Theater Company, the renowned, the famous Labyrinth Theater Company. Once asked me when I was like probably in one of the lowest parts of my life, bro. I was couch surfing. I didn't have a job. I didn't have $10 to my name. I couldn't travel. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. And I was doing a show called Short Eyes at the Los Angeles Theater Center in downtown LA. And Julian was the director, and he was the artistic director of our theater company, Urban Theater Movement. And he asked me, he said, Alex, if this is the best that it gets for you, and look at your life as it is right now, every single thing that's going on in your life or what isn't going on in your life, if this is the best that it gets for you, and this is what you have to look forward to every day, would you do it? And I didn't miss a beat. I was like, yeah, absolutely. He goes, okay, then you're on the right beat.
Right.
You're on the right track, right? So I would beg that question to these young artists. It's like, look at your life, examine where your life is right now, and examine your journey and how long you've been doing it and where you're at. And if this is the best that you get, if this is as good as it gets, do you want to do it? And if the answer even remotely hesitates and it isn't a hell yeah,
go find that thing.
Dude, trust, man, because this shit...
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. I got a great support system with my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? My girl is also an artist. She's an amazing artist. She's an amazing singer, songwriter, actor, director, producer, chola. She's dope, bro.
Yeah.
But really, she's the foundation that holds me down. I'm going to Denver for 2.5 months, man. We got a kid. I can't do that job if she's not there to support, what I mean? So it's also acknowledging that this isn't a journey that you can take by yourself. Yes, you're walking that path alone, but that support system,
right,
whatever that support system, your mom, your dad, your partners, your friends, your siblings, whoever, right?
Love y'all.
Yeah, you need those people. You need those people to hold you up, because there are times that get really difficult, man. As looking through the strike, I remember that, I think I didn't book anything for like a whole year, man. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck? I'm auditioning like twice, 3 times, sometimes even more a week. It's like, why am I not booking anything? You start doubting yourself. You start doubting your abilities. You start doubting whether or not you made the right choices. And there's times, bro, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I could be making so much more money if I go back to do this, and that.
Right.
But then I realized, like, I know, bro, the money ain't shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? It doesn't fix anything. It makes things better. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone that says that money doesn't make things good is lying. You a poor person that ain't never had money.
Right. You're just trying to tell yourself that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because money makes everything better.
Yeah.
But yeah, all jokes aside, man, this is a beautiful industry. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be here with you, Lou, to be able to do what I do, to be able to operate the way that I operate. And it only gets better with time. It only gets better with, as you get older. This is one of the industries that I love because as you get older, you get better. It's not reversed like being an athlete. You hit a peak in your athleticism.
You're like 25.
Yeah, it's like that's why football players retire at 30.
Yeah,
and then they're like 35. They're like, I don't know what the fuck to do with myself. And they invest all their money in shit that doesn't make them any money, right?
Doing like Subway commercials. And
stuff. You know what I mean. But this is a business that, like, even as a writer, you get better as you get older. As an actor, you get better as you get older, right? It's those experiences that make you better. So. That's my advice. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Of course, if you want to let the people know where they can find you,
usually in like K-Town.
Yeah, all right. Man,
most of the time I'm like hanging out in K-Town.
You're the first person to hit me with my own joke, bro, because I do that with people. I'll be like, all right, we're like, where can they find you? And I'm like, all right, you can find me on Instagram at this, and you can also find me at Ralph's on fucking
the Ralph's right there on them. Yeah. No, man, I'm like I said, I got roots all over the city. I randomly be showing up to places, bro. People recognize me, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean? The other day I was at Costco. And somebody recognized me. That was nice. No, but if you're talking about like social media and stuff like that, like how can people reach out? Just my name, Alpharaoh, just Alpharaoh at Alpharaoh on Instagram, on Threads, on X, if that's still a thing, on TikTok, Facebook. Is that?
Sometimes Facebook be like giving me a little extra love.
I don't know, man. Facebook is weird, bro.
It is.
It got weird. Like old people took over that shit. Yeah. And it just got weird.
Yeah, that's where my mom goes to fucking
and shit. Yeah. So I guess not Facebook. So social media, or you can you can visit our website cholavision.com to learn more about the acting program that Blanca Munchola and I have going on. We're taking a little bit of a hiatus, but we are teaching classes throughout the next few months, throughout the fall. And then we host auditions at the end of the year in December for our incoming class for spring 2025. And the way that it works is that we train people for about 16 weeks, and then we put up a production.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. We give them the full experience. So so Alpharaoh, all those social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, and then cholavision.com if you want to learn more about the work that we're doing with these acting classes.
Amazing. Dope. Thank you for being here. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can also find us on YouTube. My friend right here is got a beautiful mug, a nice shiny dome, and you're gonna love to see it on YouTube. So follow us on YouTube at Lou Kang Show. And if you want to see shorter, faster, funnier versions of this show, you can catch the clips on Instagram, also at Lou Kang Show. Thank you, my friend.
No problem. Thanks.